Raw power on wheels, 6 machines that changed farming forever, each one built for punishment, each one a different kind of monster. John Deere 9RX picture 4 rubber tracks, each one taller than a grown man. That is the John Deere 9ARX. It does not roll across a field, it conquers it. This machine was born out of a specific problem. Farmers in the American Midwest were destroying their own soil. Decades of heavy-wheeled tractors compacted the ground so badly that roots could barely grow. So John Deere rebuilt the concept from scratch. Instead of 4 wheels, 4 independent tracks. Each one floats over soft earth, spreading the weight across a massive surface area. The pressure on the soil drops dramatically. Under the hood sits a 16-liter engine. That is 16 liters of displacement, the kind of number that sounds wrong until you see the exhaust stack. Output reaches up to 720 horsepower. 720 horsepower moving through a field. Farmers in North Dakota run these machines through mud that would swallow a pickup truck whole. The tracks keep turning. The machine keeps moving. The 9ARX entered production in 2016. Within 3 years, it became the best-selling large-frame tractor in North America. The price tag crosses $500,000. Some configurations push past $600,000. The detail nobody expects. The cab is so quiet and climate-controlled that operators have reported falling asleep inside it at full throttle. Case IH Steiger 620, same era, different philosophy. Case IH did not build a tracks machine, they built a wheels machine, and they pushed the wheeled tractor concept to its absolute limit. The Steiger 620 runs on 4 massive rubber tires, each one over 2 meters tall. The chassis articulates in the middle, the front half and the rear half bend independently to steer. From the air, watching it turn looks like a mechanical snake changing direction. 620 horsepower continuous. That number is not a peak, it is sustained output at rated RPM. The engine is a 15-liter Cummins diesel, the same engine family used in long-haul mining trucks in Australia. Steiger tractors have a strange origin. They were invented in the late 1950s by a Minnesota farmer named Douglas Steiger. He built the first one himself inside a barn because no commercial tractor existed that could handle his workload. He welded it from scratch. It weighed over 13,000 kilograms. Case IH eventually acquired the Steiger brand, but the name stayed. The 620 today can pull a 60-foot planting implement across a field at 14 kilometers per hour. A single pass plants a strip of crops wider than a 2-lane highway. 1 operator, 1 machine. Fendt 1000 Vario Europe plays a different game. German engineering company, Fendt built the 1000 Vario not for brute force across open plains, but for precision. High horsepower precision on terrain that is never perfectly flat. The engine, a 6-cylinder MAN unit. Maximum output, 517 horsepower. That is not the headline. The headline is the transmission. Fendt invented the continuously variable transmission for agricultural tractors. No gears, no clutch, no shift points. The operator sets a desired ground speed. The tractor maintains it automatically, adjusting engine RPM and hydraulic ratio in real time. At low speeds, the efficiency gain is staggering. Headland turns that used to waste minutes every pass now happen in seconds. Soil disturbance drops. Fuel consumption per hectare falls by up to 15% compared to PowerShift competitors. The 1000 Vario launched in 2017. It immediately won the Agritechnica Gold Medal, the highest honor in agricultural technology. The judges called it a reinvention of what a tractor could be. It costs around 400,000 euros. The surpassing detail: the transmission has no mechanical connection between the engine and the wheels in the traditional sense. Power flows through fluid dynamics and electronics. If the software fails, the tractor stops completely, because without the software, there is nothing to transfer motion. Challenger Mount 800 series. Now things get industrial. The Challenger brand was originally created inside Caterpillar, the same company that builds bulldozers and excavators for mining operations. They looked at agriculture and saw an opportunity for rubber track technology. The result was a machine that looks less like a tractor and more like a tank. The Challenger MT875E runs on 2 continuous rubber belt tracks, each one over 600 millimeters wide. No separate wheel axles, no articulation point. The machine pivots on its own center of gravity. Engine output, 570 horsepower. The tracks run cooler than steel track equivalents and can travel on paved roads without destroying the surface. Challenger built these machines for the massive wheat and canola operations across that some farms are measured in tens of thousands of acres. 1 operator, 12 hours. A single Challenger can till or plant an area larger than many small towns in a single working day. Challenger tractors were eventually sold by Caterpillar to AGCO, which also owns Fendt. The 2 machines now share development resources but remain completely different philosophies. One built for speed and precision, the other built for raw work capacity. The staggering number: a single Challenger in continuous seasonal operation can move more soil in 1 year than a team of 100 draft horses working their entire lifetimes. New Holland T9. Now we get to the American icon. New Holland's T9 series is the working man's heavy tractor. Not the most technologically advanced, Not the most expensive, but the most widely deployed large-frame tractor on the planet. The T9682 runs a 12.9-liter engine producing 682 horsepower. It operates on 4 rubber tracks, similar to the John Deere 9ARX, but the design is older and simpler. New Holland built the T9 for reliability in places where dealer support is 300 kilometers away. Components are intentionally conservative. Parts are widely available. Mechanics who have never seen the machine can work on it within an hour. This matters enormously in the developing world. Brazil, Russia, Kazakhstan, large-scale grain operations in regions with no certified technicians nearby. The T9 sells aggressively in all 3. New Holland itself is owned by CNH Industrial, an Italian-American conglomerate that also owns Case IH, 2 direct competitors owned by the same parent company, selling different machines to different customers. The T9 launched its current generation in 2021. AGCO and John Deere both have faster machines. Both have more technologically advanced machines. The T9 outsells them in market segments where the question is not performance. It is cost per hour of operation over a 10-year working life. That number, according to independent fleet analysis, consistently favors New Holland by a margin that surprises most buyers. John Deere 8R310, and then there is the machine that does everything else. Not the biggest, not the most powerful, but the most important tractor in active production today. The John Deere 8R310 is a row crop tractor. It operates on standard wheels, it fits between crop rows without destroying them, and it carries the most advanced precision agriculture system currently available at commercial scale. Output 310 horsepower, that is half the power of the machines listed before, but the 8AR is not competing on power, it is competing on intelligence. The machine runs John Deere's See & Spray Ultimate system. Cameras mounted on boom sprayers scan the field in real time. Artificial intelligence identifies weeds versus crop plants at speeds exceeding 30 frames per second. Nozzles fire individually, spraying only on weeds. The result, herbicide use drops by up to 77% per pass compared to traditional broadcast spraying. On a 1,000-acre operation, that is a chemical cost reduction of tens of thousands of dollars per season. But the real disruption is the data. Every 8AR transmits field information back to John Deere's operations center. Soil type, yield variation, moisture, pest pressure. That data feeds back into machine recommendations for the following season. John Deere sells the hardware, but increasingly they are selling access to the intelligence layer. Subscriptions, software licenses, data analysis services. Farmers began noticing something in the contract language around 2022. They do not fully own the software running their machines. They cannot repair certain systems without John Deere authorization. They cannot access certain data streams without an active subscription. A tractor that costs $350,000, and the company that sold it can limit what you do with it. In 2023, the United States Copyright Office began reviewing right to repair exemptions specifically because of agricultural software. John Deere lobbied against those exemptions. The fields are still running, the tractors are still moving. But the question of who controls the machine, the farmer standing next to it or the company that wrote the code, that question has no clean answer yet.